Hello everybody and welcome back to episode number 4 of Alma, Missouri. What a map this is turning out to be so far. I do hope everyone's well. Apologies you've not seen a great deal of content from me this week. It's that usual thing, that usual time. It is half term. So yeah, trying to find time away from the kids to actually get a little bit of recording time. It's quite hard work. I'm not going to lie, I've got up extra early today just to try and get a little bit done. But it wouldn't be surprising if halfway through this episode you hear some screaming and annoying little kids running around. Who knows? Anyway, I pretty much know what we need to do today. Now, I was hoping this would be the first episode with some real helpers. But again, given it's half term and I'm just struggling to plan in some time really to get the recording done, this episode is going to be quite bitty for me. So I'll be recording it in quite a few different sections and then obviously editing it all together so it looks like one, hopefully, one clean, smooth episode. But we'll have to see how that goes. Now we're doing pretty well. Obviously we finished harvesting the peas. They're not going to sell for a few months yet. They don't really get the best price until the new year. So in the meantime it's going to be field work. It's going to be sorting out these fields because they've not been looked after very well at all. So first things first is we need to buy that field data. So if you've watched any of my series before, you'll kind of know I don't do the field scanning. I don't think that's necessarily realistic. Obviously it is realistic, that's how they do it, but for a small farmer, certainly for a farmer who started out, you'd pay someone else to do it. So jumping straight into this screen, I don't think there's a problem with that. It's $7,000 to buy that, but we do need it. So what I'm going to focus on in this episode is the pH level. So it does need liming. It needs quite a bit of lime, no doubt. And this makes me kind of wonder, do I get that fertilizer and lime spreader from the shop? Now I have also activated a mod, which does seem like pretty good value as well. So I'm just going to check them both out. But yeah, from a nitrogen point of view, it is pretty bad. It's really bad. But that obviously changes depending on what kind of crop you put in, doesn't it? So what I'm actually going to do with a nitrogen, from a nitrogen point of view, is use a seeder which kind of places fertilizer at the same time. I've never done that with precision farming, so I don't quite know how that's going to work. But we'll find out. I'll test it in this series. And the reason being is I found a really good seeder. One of those kind of like air drill type ones where it also tows the tank behind it at the same time. I just feel that looks very, I don't know, American. Is that the right word? Maybe it's not American, but it certainly seems like something you'd use if you have a big field. So that's the kind of thing I want to be using. So, but yeah, pH. That is what we need to look at this episode. Now, if I jump over into the shop. So we have got in the used. Now this, by the way, what I've noticed is I've deactivated the mod which gave you far too much selection, which is great because it needs to be crossplay ready, doesn't it? So it's slowly kind of dwindling down what's in the shop. So items are slowly disappearing, but it isn't adding any more. I'm assuming it needs to get down to kind of like the 2 or 3, and then it will start changing. But for a minute, we're kind of stuck with what we got probably for the next couple of episodes. But this is what I was looking at last time. Decent discount on that, isn't it? Decent discount, and that capacity, 15,600 litres of lime. That's the biggest attraction to this thing. Because, wow, this field's going to go through lime, isn't it? There's no doubt about that. We're going to need a lot of lime. That might just save a heck of a lot of time for me. Probably not so much for you watching either way, because I'll most likely time-lapse this, but for me, that might just keep me a little bit sane. A little bit sane, if I'm sane in the first place, which is debatable. But anyway, in here, I've activated this one. I downloaded this before, I just never activated it, I don't know why. But its capacity is not quite as good, but it ain't far off, is it? It's 12,000 litres, that's still a pretty good capacity. Now, I don't know if it's an American brand, but the fact that it's in English is a good start. So yeah, that ain't bad, and it's very, very detailed. Compared to the base game one, I just think it looks pretty damn cool. I don't know if that kind of weird wheel mechanism there is some form of weird dolly. Maybe it's just got kind of double wheel steering. I don't know. It's a risk I'll have to take. But I think that's the better option. Because without discount, that's 36,000. This one here with the discount was still more than that. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that's the way to go. And again, you know, I like to use mods that I don't see very often. Not that I have time to watch YouTube. Not anymore, not these days. But I've not seen that one before. I've certainly never used it before. Whereas I've used the base game one numerous times in contracts and things like that. So to be different, I want to do something like that. So I think that's the way to go. I have a feeling that the brand Jan is American as well. So we'll go with that. 36,000. Done ain't too bad. Here we are. Look, straight back into it. Spending money again. And also, given that that has 12,000 litre capacity, we need to be getting a lot of lime. I don't know if 12,000 will do it. I don't think it will do it. So I'm thinking if I buy it in 2 batches of 6, one lot of 6 should fill the fertilizer spreader. The other lot of 6, I reckon, we'll be able to put neatly into the back of the pickup truck. So we'll buy 2 lots of 6. And if we don't use it all, we don't use it all. Doesn't matter, does it? Because we're certainly going to be using it in the future. So for realism's sake, I don't think it's unrealistic to be towing that back with the pickup truck as well, because it has got its own wheels. It does use a standard trailer hitch, and I don't know, is that normal? So we're going to do that anyway. We're going to use the pickup truck because I want to put the spare bags into the back of it. And yeah, I mean, it's more than capable. Look at it. It's an absolute beast. I can barely get into it. Yeah. Gonna have to get this done as well. Now, I don't know. I like to finish each episode with a bit of landscaping. But I'm not going to lie. My mouse has been broken. Probably by one of the children. So, yeah. I don't know if I'll do landscaping this episode without the mouse. We'll have to see, but I do want to get this done. And it would be better to park the pickup truck in the middle of the garage anyway. Right, shut that back up. Okay, here we go. So this, believe it or not, this is going to be like an intro inside of an intro, I think, because... Yeah, I started that last maybe 8 or 9 minutes you've just seen. I started that last week, literally early in the morning last week. We are now on Tuesday. The kids are back at school, and I'm finally getting around to actually doing some recording. So yeah, an intro in an intro. It's been a long week. It's great to have the kids home though, isn't it? But it's just as great to have them back at school. That is for sure. Now, what you have just seen in the last 8 minutes maybe, I'm guessing it's probably about 8 minutes, actually took me 4 attempts to record everything I've done. I've hopefully edited it in such a way that you couldn't actually tell, but yeah, literally that was recorded in 4 different sections. Oh man, it's been a nightmare. It's been a nightmare. But anyway, right, I'm almost reminding myself what I've just done in the last 8 minutes of what you've seen. So here we go. We are headed to the shop. I know that we've bought the spreader, and I think we bought loads and loads of lime. I think we did. We will find out very, very soon. But in the meantime, anyway, I hope everyone is well. I know I've probably already said that in one episode, but this is a fresh new day for me. So I do hope everyone is well. Everyone is doing good. Thank you very much for being patient. The kind of comments I've got have been great. So I really do appreciate that, and I don't know how it is. I think, again, I'm still a small enough channel to get away with not consistently doing the content all the time. As much as I miss doing it, and I believe you miss seeing it, but I can get away with it once in a while. Right, anyway, back to business. Come on, let's get on with it. So what I am hoping, I do remember this, I'm hoping I can get a batch of these 6 bags. It looks like I can pick them up. I can't pick them up. So no, I wish that hand wouldn't come up, you know. I normally play without the HUD on at all, but I think for this series it makes sense to keep it on. But yeah, hopefully, I reckon they'll go in there, won't they? This truck is a lot bigger than the one that we had back in Saskatchewan. and I'm pretty sure I managed to squeeze 6 into that. So I want to load 6 up into the back, then I'll connect the trailer and get these other 6 kind of magically put inside of that. That will work. Now, you've probably not seen this before. I think in between cuts, I've jumped in, quickly added a generic shop-only JCB telehandler, which is pretty much what I do for most series. So that's not cost us a penny, obviously. This is just here to be used to try and do things realistically, I guess. And on crossplay, there's no other way, is there? It's not like I can pick these bags up and chuck them in the back. So, let's try and do this. Let's try and do it without making any more cuts, because I've made so many, it's doing my head in. So, if I don't embarrass myself, this will be a cut-free. Maybe it won't. Maybe I'll cut it. No, it'll be fine. Now, I do know, just coming here, actually. Let's line those up better. I do need to get that bakery still, don't I? I do need to get it, because I know it's only just around the corner. It's over there. And I'm hoping that the pallets, once they start spawning the bread, will kind of spawn them in such a way that I can load them up again. And maybe I can get away with using this. I don't know, is that acceptable? Now, typically, the forks, of course, are not long enough to pick up all 6. I should have known that. So I don't know why I parked that there. I kind of parked it right in the middle of the road as well, haven't I? That's not particularly a safe thing to do. Right, let's stick it over here. Like somewhere like that would be fine, wouldn't it? Turn the engine off, save some fuel. I'm not worried about the shop engine. That's their problem. But yeah, I do need to get that bakery. I need to get it before I get too carried away, because on this series I'm having a lot of fun spending money. Yeah. Not something I'm really used to, but it is quite enjoyable to spend money. Now, is it going to fit in there? Come on. There we go. It will fit. Don't tell me this truck isn't wide enough to get too wide. No, it'll be fine. Just give it a wiggle. Give it a bit of a wiggle. Well, I'll tell you what, it's not very good first impression, is it? From this pretend Chevy. Yeah, that truck that we had before, we get these in too wide, no problem. Shocking. Maybe it's my driving. Right, let's just try and lower them. And then if I can get out, if I can pull out, I was going to make some sort of pun then about I'm not very good at that, that's why I got so many children, but I don't know if that's farming simulator safe, mind you. Most of you who view are kind of my sort of age, so maybe I can get away with making a little comment like that. Right, come on. You can see how good my my game is at doing stuff like this, can't you? Come on. Right, let's just try and give it a little nudge in there now. Oh dear. What a disaster. What a disaster. I am going to cut this. I'm going to load them up sideways. In from the side. The bags are a bit thinner. Right, give me a sec. Yeah, I definitely cut that because that was a bit embarrassing. That was shocking. So what I need to do is pick these both up. End on, don't I? And then I'll do it from the side. Good, we'll get there in a minute. I'm just curious as well. I think I know what I'm going to do, but I'll just mention it because, you know, I do like to... Why didn't that just pick that up? That literally just went through it, didn't it? It did. I'm sure it did. Right, it should work now. There we go. Yeah, so I like to do things realistically and kind of have to manually move things where you should. But I think it's reasonable. Our grain mill over there, which I notice hasn't produced any flour outside, which is odd because it should have done. I'll have to check that in a moment. But I think it's safe to just set the actual production to distributing automatically so it goes over to the bakery because it is right there. I think it's going to get a bit tedious if I was to manually move each pallet of flour. It's going to produce a lot of flour, I hope. So I think it would be a bit tedious though having to manually put each pallet over there when it is so close. So I think I'm going to set the distribution so that it goes straight over to the bakery automatically. But I am curious why it's not. I mean, I don't know where the flour appears, but I definitely activated that. I think I made a point of activating that actually in an episode. I think I did, anyway. So I'm just going to check. Maybe I haven't turned it on. Maybe not. Right, push them in as much as we can. That will do. I won't need this again because the other ones will magically appear inside the spreader. So we'll just park that up. Turn off the engine. There we go. Right, let's get these strapped while I remember. I'm not going to be able to shut the back, which is annoying, but to be honest, that has got quite a long arm, hasn't it? So we might get away with the back still being open. Now, what's going on over here? Again, maybe the flower's here somewhere, but I mean, I don't see it. I'd assume it would appear here somewhere. Where's the spanner? It's here somewhere. There we go. Oh, okay. It's not activated. Did I somehow activate all the other ones? Maybe they all automatically activated when I bought it, and then when I thought I activated it, I deactivated it. That would seem about right. So we've lost a little bit of momentum there, but it's fine. What's it going to do? 120 cycles per month, and each cycle should produce 158 flour. So pallet in a bit a day, maybe. So next episode we might have a couple of pallets spawn. So I'm going to leave them storing for a minute because we don't own the bakery, and I would like to know where they appear. But actually, once we've bought that bakery, maybe that's something we have to do this episode. Really, I'll set it to distributing. But of course, the bread itself will be left on storing, which means it will produce the pallets. We will have to manually load those up to sell them. So we still have that kind of element of realism, and also, you know, as you know, if you play it, if you just sell stuff direct from somewhere like the bakery, from a production, you don't sell it at full price. You lose a percentage. I don't know if I've made this up in my head. Oh dear, this is going to be tight. Yeah, I don't know if I've made it up in my head. I think it's 30% you lose potentially, and I don't know, is that 30% of the best price or 30% of whatever the price is at the time? You could just lose a lot. Okay, now I don't know if my calculations are absolutely shocking, but I seem to have a lot more bags left over than what I thought we would have. How much lime's in a bag? Maybe I just miscounted. Right, why is it not loading any more up as well? I've still got space. It's actually... it's taking the lime out of the bags in the back. Why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I know it would do that? Oh, I don't know. It doesn't seem to be taking it out of those bags there. Why is it not? Why is it not? I don't know. Right, I seem to think, I mean, that must be at capacity. I'm sure the capacity was only 12,000. It's showing 14,000 at the bottom. So maybe with it being in the back of the truck, probably because one bag is so close to it, it's kind of confusing it maybe. I don't know. Right, we'll come back and get the rest. It's no problem. I think we're going to need it. I genuinely do. So yeah, fresh recording this now. Oh look, a bit of Tokyo Drift going on here. So I know initially I had hoped to get helpers in on this episode, and I've probably already said that in the 10 minutes leading up to this fresh go at it. But for now, I've started it. I'll get this finished. We'll get the field limed, but at least we'll start it. If it's bad, if it's really, really bad, then I will probably throw a little message out midway through doing this and see if I can get anyone to jump on quick just to help me get it done. But I think this bit should be fine. But we are getting very close to needing to cultivate, to plant. I'm not going to buy a direct drill, but I am going to buy like a drill type seeder, which in theory kind of does direct drill. You connect all the implements up, which is cultivating and drilling all in one go, but that's real. That is what you would do on big fields like this. So we will be doing that. So we kind of will be direct drilling it, I guess, really. We kind of will be. Now, actually, why am I going this way? What I want to do Unfortunately, this is actually quite easy to steer, which I'm glad of. Those weird mechanisms in the wheels that made me a bit worried. But it's just giving you some tighter steering, so that's good. That is really good. This area is starting to look quite cool, I think, isn't it? There's still going to be plenty more that we need to place. But I do like what I've done so far. Definitely. Looks cool. Right, let's pull this up out the way. Let's just park this up here. I was thinking as well, you know, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to place obviously the barn just to the left of me here. Just to kind of simulate somewhere, you know, like a bunk so for all of the helpers and the workers to live in. Obviously, it has no benefit to doing that apart from just kind of, I don't know, maybe a touch of role play. But actually what I'm going to do is make this roadway through here where the trees are, where I've cleared. Obviously, I've talked about that before. But I'm going to make like little parking spaces. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll make little parking spaces up here. And what I'm going to do is, no cost to the actual farm account, but I'm going to put a selection of cars in the area where you start. So whenever you spawn in as a helper, you spawn in pretty much right by that big massive Alma sign. Just across the road, I'm going to place like an imitation of like a car rental. And what you're going to have to do if you want to come on and help, you're going to have to jump into one of those cars. There'll be 2 or 3 you can pick. You'll have to drive down to the farm and park up outside the barn. So it kind of, I guess, what does it do? It kind of imitates that when I've got people here working, their cars are actually parked up outside. I just think that would look cool. Just be a cool little touch. And rather than just kind of teleporting straight into the farm, you'll kind of get the full experience of the whole farm entrance and driving actually into a place of work, maybe. I just think that'd be cool. Cool little touch. Now, also, what I do need to do, what I need to consider is, let's jump in this view so we can see what we're doing, is having more vehicles. So there's no point having 3 or 4 helpers log in if I've got 1 tractor. So yeah, what I might need to do is consider another tractor. Yeah, I think that might be a good thing to do. Now this is connected up good. It looks alright. Let's jump into the field. We're now it only says it's got 5,000 litres in it, by the way. So I don't know what on earth is going on with this spreader. Don't know. Maybe I should have put an expansion on it, maybe? Is that what it wanted? I don't know. I can't remember. I did it so long ago. I don't even know what the actual whip's going to be with line. So let's give it a little test a minute. Right. Okay, well I guessed that relatively well, didn't I? And if it's had a bit of a glitch, in theory, that line figure won't change until it gets down. I'm sure it said 12,000 litre capacity. I'm sure it did. Okay, right. Well, the good news is, in the little screen at the bottom, it is turned into a nice green colour instead of yellow. So that kind of means it's doing what I need it to do. You would hope. You would hope. The great thing about precision farming, by the way, if you've never used it, is even though, you know, I'm kind of, say, overshooting, it looks like I'm wasting loads outside of the field. Because it's got an automatic rate of which it puts the line down, it isn't actually wasting anything. So actually, the mod for precision farming, in a way, actually makes the game a little bit easier in a strange way. But anyway, right, let's get on with this now. Luckily, it isn't actually using that much, is it? No, although for my standard kind of spreader that I get, a cheapo, I probably would have had to refill it a couple of times by now. So yeah, definitely the bigger capacity is making it a heck of a lot easier. Now, let's just make it easier on myself, and I'm just going to make this almost into one field. Yeah, I'll do a couple loads of this myself, and then either I'll throw out a little message if I can get someone to jump on, we'll do that. But I would like to wait until I've done that little bit of landscaping over there before I get workers in, just to simulate that drive down. I think that would be cool. But also, as it's such late notice, what I might do is just set it to a helper. Yeah. Oh, it's really not using much at all. Just turn that off very quickly. Oh, I shut the whole tractor off. I didn't want to do that. Let's just jump into this mode here. Where's our field? Here it is. And pH. Okay, I mean it's definitely working though, isn't it? You know, what I wish is you see here, you hover this over to the color. So like I'm doing now, you should be able to see, but because the edge of the screen darkens, you can't. I wish they did that differently, so you could almost use that guide to link up to your colors to see exactly what your pH is, but it just doesn't work, does it? But at a guess, the field types made a difference, but the majority of it looks like probably between 6.75 to 7, so that's good. That's a good color. That is a good color. We need to do it. No doubt about that. Right, good. Let's start the engine back on. I don't know why I turned the engine off. It's funny how you just a week of not playing, you kind of forget how to play the game. There we go. Very much tell I'm not using a helper because look at the state of it. It's like impossible for me to do anything in a straight line. Look at it. Awful. No, it looks like I've missed a few bits as well, and I don't know if it's kind of, I don't know, maybe this is a myth buster. It doesn't necessarily, it does a little bit there, but even though it misses certain sections from an animation point of view, it still shows when you look at it through the menu like it's been fertilized. So I don't know, maybe it's, I'll do it now, I'll do this on purpose to test it. So yeah, look, if you look at the bottom now, or let's turn that off. So here, I've just purposely missed a section here on purpose, but it is actually limed. So I don't know if it's just an animation, I've obviously missed a few little bits, but there's a few bits here that I've missed, but yet when you go into this view, they're not missed. So I don't tend to, although it doesn't necessarily look as accurate, I don't tend to worry too much about going back and getting all of these little bits. I will do that bit though, because that is showing on the map, isn't it? Hopefully, there you go. So yeah, like this bit here now, even though it's there, when you go over it, precision farming will automatically pick up on when it needs to lime something. Potentially, it won't lime it, look, it's not automatically applying lime, because it doesn't think it needs it. So that just seems to be kind of a look, really, an animation thing, even though it has covered that particular section with lime. I hope so anyway, but yeah, from a myth busting point of view, maybe I'm completely wrong and someone will tell me that's not how it works, but certainly from a data point of view, what it tells you, it looks like I don't need to worry about that. Anyway, right, let's carry on. I'm going to get this last little bit of field done myself. Probably do a very small headland around the other bit just in front of us, and then I will just leave an AI worker. It's very annoying, I don't know how it kind of shows, but it's obviously not recording that or registering the texture for the sorghum in the distance. Like you've got that kind of round dome that sort of works around your character. But I have tweaked the settings and it just doesn't seem to change anything, so whether that's just limitations of the map, maybe it's just limitations of my PC. The PC I used, you know, it's relatively good. It's not the best because you know you almost need to be a millionaire these days to keep on top of absolute brand new modern equipment. It just changes so much, but it is a pretty good system. I have the graphics settings set pretty high. This is a demanding game though. It's very demanding. I think even if you have, you know, the best of the best running this game on ultra settings, on ultra graphics, it's hard to do. It really is hard to do. You wouldn't think a game like this would struggle so much with graphics, but it's demanding. So many small moving parts, I assume. There is actually so much going on, isn't there? And you think just doing a job like this, how many little things? Yeah. Compared to a game like GTA, I suppose there's a heck of a lot more to be loaded in for these kind of animations. Anyway, look, I'm talking and I'm probably missing what I could do in one go. Maybe. It's interesting to see though, again, on that little mini map in the bottom, it doesn't actually look like I've missed any at all. So I've left quite a few gaps there in that, haven't I? Even that little end piece there. Let me just check it. Yeah, the applicator's not picking up on anything. Yeah, of all of those gaps that I missed there, and I did a bad job, there's only actually 2 very minor bits that have missed the line. And I turn the engine off again. Why do I keep doing that? Why have I forgot how to play the game? Shocking. But yeah, anyway. Let's go and get these last couple of bits. Hopefully now, when I turn it on, somewhere here, it will pick up that it needs to line. See, all of this has already been lined. But about here somewhere, it should hopefully turn on. There you go. And get that little bit that I missed. Odd. Okay, we're going to leave him to it. He's going to miss a few bits, I'm sure of it. To the right hand side he'll miss a bit, but we'll just leave it working to it. They're not too expensive, are they? No. Right, I don't know, because this has been such a kind of bitty episode for me. I don't actually know how long this is kind of running at, to be honest. But what I do know is, since I probably said it, well, I said it in this episode, but I said it last week, my mouse wasn't working. I have since fixed it, and it is completely fine. So, I am going to do a bit of landscaping. Definitely. Whilst we have the money, I need to do this, don't I? I need to do this. Now, I can't believe that it took the line from the back. I should have known it would do that. Okay. We are, you know, eventually going to need to get some form of front loader tractor for this farm as well. Because if I need now, well, I'm at a point where I want to go to the shop and pick up the rest of the bags, but I can't because these ones are still in the back. Yeah, we're going to have to get something. We're going to have to get something. Let's leave that there. Did I check in the shop? I probably did in the first bit, but let's have a look. Well, that's a good start. The forks are there. But I bet there's nothing with a front loader. And this is where even a small tractor... I'm not going to get a voucher because I'm using almost that same model. Not that one, but something very, very similar on the roleplay story. So I like to always use something different. But something like that would be ideal, wouldn't it? With a front loader. We're eventually going to be needing to get stuff like this as well, you know. Big trailers. I'm looking forward to using stuff like that. It's been a while since I've done it. Right, okay. What I need to do is I need to unbury the dolly. Even though I don't want to, because I just hate them. But I do need to unbury it. I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll chuck this kind of tree. I'm a really strong kind of guy, by the way. I love the fact that as soon as you've chopped it down, the leaves literally fall off or stop growing. That's cool, isn't it? Alright, let's move this other one. Yep, clearly he's had his Weetabix this morning. I want to sell that dolly because it's the wrong one anyway, so it's absolutely no benefit to us. But because I can't empty the truck out, it's going to be a bit of a Bit of a pain to connect. Yeah, although to be honest it won't be a pain, would it? But what I'll do is I'll leave it a moment. Once this has completed its job, it should need a bit more lime. It can take some lime out of the back of the truck, which will then free up the truck to kind of get on with other jobs. So we'll do that in a second. I think I will just move it at least. Let's move it out the way and then try and end the episode, which again I've got no idea at all how long this episode is, but we'll try and end it now with a small bit of landscaping. Oh gosh, where's the end of it? It's there somewhere, come on. There it is. Yeah, so I need to clear this area just to get a bit of landscaping done here. And we can just leave this over here, can't we? This is one of the reasons why I quite like the idea of having such a wide open space. So I need to, as much as I will want to, I need to try and stay away from placing anything right where that truck is. And I know I probably will. I'm saying that, but I know I will eventually. Let's jump into landscape in a moment. We'll use it as a bit of a drone as well, and just check in what's. Oh my, he's making a right lash up. Oh, he has actually finished though. He has actually finished. We need to get onto that one, don't we? Right, let's do that real quick. We'll finish these last few bits on our own very quickly, move it into the other field. Probably again, set it on an AI worker, and then just while he's doing it, in the background, we'll do that little bit of landscaping. And then the next episode, what I'll do is I'll activate a few little PC mods and build that kind of area I'm talking about, where I'm going to put some cars, maybe park them up in a small garage or something, I don't know. I'll make it look real. I'll try and make it look like it's a rental, a car rental building, but it won't be at any cost to us. That will purely just be there for a little bit of fun, a little bit of role play aspect, I guess. But yeah, and then once that's done, I am going to be pretty much ready to have some helpers in, which is going to be great. Right, we'll head to the next field. I'm just going to check in the menu in a minute as well, because this definitely said 12,000. But what I am wondering is whether it has a different capacity for lime than it does for fertilizer, which would kind of make sense, I suppose. Maybe lime's a bit more dense, heavier than what fertilizer would be. So yeah, maybe it's got like a 5,000 capacity for lime, but a 12,000 capacity for fertilizer. I think that's reasonable to assume. Right, now I probably, I'm so used to going around and doing the headlands first on all the kind of maps I've played. Actually, because these are quite nice and square, and the AI aren't too bad with square fields, I could probably get away with not doing this so much. I mean, certainly on the end, there's plenty of room there, isn't there, to turn around. So maybe I don't need to go all the way around. Maybe I'll just do this out a bit, and then see how the worker actually gets on. They certainly seem to be a little bit more reliable here, don't they, in Alma in America, than that Canadian drunken AI worker I kept hiring. I do miss him though. I miss the humour. I'm going to do it though, because he's going to end up in that ditch. Yeah. Definitely. Well, I say he. I don't know. It might be a female worker actually. I shouldn't make assumptions, should I? Not this day and age. Just cost me $72 though. Right, okay. Let's see how they got on. It is a bloke. Let's see how he does. Who knows? Right, let's move my character out of the way. Let's stand him down here. And we'll jump again. Second time, third time lucky. Well, this episode is about 10 times lucky now. But let's jump back into landscaping. Hopefully, yeah, it's quite nice having nice square edges to fields. Might struggle with a corner, but that's fine. Get most of it done, won't it? We can kind of monitor him as well, because we're working right here. Right, decoration. It's not decoration, is it? What was it? It's building. It's a farmhouse. It's going to be expensive, but it's what we want to do on this series. So I guess this is kind of the down payment for having workers, which are essentially free, aren't they? So what can I do about it? Now I'm gonna have to. I can't free place this because I won't be able to level the ground once I've placed it, and I don't really. I think leveling the ground before would be more expensive actually. It's only actually going to cost me what, just 2.5 grand? 2,500 quid if I placed it there on top of the 45 grand for the building. If I was to level that beforehand, it would cost more than that, I'm sure of it. So let's try and get it somewhere. This is one of those moments where once you've done it, and it's tough luck. So, I mean, it's letting me place it. It's not hitting a tree. I am going to have a slope, so I need to smooth that out in front. Okay. How do I want to do it? Once I click the button, I've clicked the button. Let's just do it. Okay. Jump out of that mode real quick and just inspect the damage. Something close by. There we go. I know this is going to raise this bit high, definitely. But again, much like placing those, I don't mind that. I don't know if I will ever use this for storage. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe it would make sense eventually, but we're going to have access points here, aren't we? So this will be smoothed out. Yeah, so it's got quite a lot of entrance ways. So I don't think the end one is going to be needed, no. So I'm going to keep this real steep hill here, and then I'll potentially stick a tree or something there just to cover up that door. I don't think we'll ever use that at all. But what I want to check is, if you go upstairs, this should now have... Maybe there's another... I hope there's another door. Yeah, it's bigger than this. It should have some sort of living quarters. Oh, here we go. Look at that. Do you know that is perfect? Even a TV to watch, look. Yeah, this is what I wanted. What's in here? A little bathroom? Yeah, look at that. So if you needed to have a little pee-pee while you're doing some work, you can even have a cheeky bath. I ain't paying you to have baths, so I don't expect that to be used. Cool. I like this. This is cool. I'm guessing that's a wardrobe trigger. Oh, the sleep trigger actually works as well. Lovely. Oh, and there's a nice little view and a nice balcony looking at trees and branches. Wonderful. Shut that back up. This is perfect. This is just cool. This is what I wanted. This is what I wanted. And maybe this section here, because this door will open, and this isn't a balcony, which is cool. Maybe once we've got equipment, a telehandler and stuff, maybe we can hand load bales and things up into here. So this might come in handy as a little bit of a storage area. Yeah. I like it. I like it. 45 grand. Wow, just over 45 grand. But 45 grand well spent, I'm going to say. I'm going to say. Like it a lot. Jump back into that menu now, shall we? Right, here we go. This might be a short little time lapse. Depends how carried away I get, as always. But let's try and level this out a little bit. Get some parking spaces made. Let's have a go. Okay, I'll jump back in real quick because for the most part this is a handy little trick, and I mentioned it before and keep it real, but I'll do it again because it is kind of working out. So whatever the ground texture is underneath whatever the map creator has put here doesn't charge you to replace that. So for example here now I'm on grass. Underneath this grass, which is kind of planted field grass, Actually, if you notice, the monetary value in the top corner is going down slightly because we have a worker. But see how it very, very rarely changes? That's because underneath here, for the most part, it's not on every single bit, but underneath here is actually already grass. That is the texture. So it doesn't charge you to necessarily do this. Now, the reason this makes a difference is because it's precision farming. Now, the precision farming mod will still believe that this grassed area is a field, and it affects your score. You know, we're not cutting this grass, we're not fertilizing it, we're not liming it. It is just grass. But because it thinks it's part of the field, it actually brings your overall score down. That's not ideal. It's not ideal at all. So actually what I want to do eventually, all of it, every single bit of field grass like this, needs to go, so that it's not kind of adversely affecting our score. So seeing as there's not a lot of money in it at this point, it's a good opportunity to kind of clear it off. It is going to cost me money to replace it, because I will of course just put down the meadow grass. But see, look again, I'm doing quite a big area here. Look, that money isn't going down. Not really. It's only going down because the AI worker has taken some wages. So it's just a great way of not spending a lot of money when you're playing a game where you don't really want to cheat. You don't want to give yourself free landscaping. It's just a good way of kind of getting around it a little bit. But I will replace this all as placeable grass. Just again to keep it looking nice, keep it looking realistic. But this is really helping out now. This is actually helping the environmental score without actually doing anything. So it is a must, isn't it? Okay, we're good. I'm kind of happy with that. We'll have a closer look in a moment when we get there. What I'm just going to do though, because I did say it a little while ago and I never did it, I'm just going to have a look at placing some chickens, because eventually, you know, we're going to buy the bakery. We might get to a point where we want some eggs. So let's just place this here. I think this little hut kind of suits it. Just a little hut inside where we live. Now, I don't want to free place it, but I am going to free place it and then level after, because it's going to help us get rid of some of that grass. Now, I'm kind of guessing here. I don't actually know how far out the chickens will venture, but then it's no issue if they walk onto the road, is it? Let's stick it. Let's go like that. Okay. That was a pretty good guess, actually, I'm going to say. That was alright. So, let's just fix that up a little bit. Make it look a little bit more realistic. If I can. That one there will do. Yeah, that's good. Just, I never like that kind of consistent ground look. Now, same again. Is this going to select the grass texture? Keep an eye off figure in the corner. Yeah, it's not actually changing it. So while we're here, let's just get rid of all of this. This kind of gets a bit tedious if you're trying to do it all in one go. just to help the environmental score. It does get tedious, but if I just do little bits as I'm going, that should just kind of make it easier, and eventually there'll only be a tiny bit left then. But again, see how I'm doing all of this there, and that figure really isn't moving. Just a good little tip. Okay, jumped back out of that view. Good. I do get too carried away. So I told myself, don't go under 300,000. And I didn't. I then placed the chicken coop, didn't I, which was 20,000. So actually, I consider myself a bit of a winner. I didn't do too bad. So this looks pretty good. Nice little pathway into here. Again, I don't think we're actually going to use this for a great deal, to be honest, but I like it. It works. Covered those doors up a little bit there with a couple of bushes. I never underestimate placing trees. Just placing a tree can make so much difference. So look at that. If there was no tree there, just adds so much characteristic. A couple of trees here. Again, I quite like this. That's worked out quite well. That has worked out quite well. And I've made kind of like some makeshift little parking spaces. Look, someone can get their little truck in there or a little car. And you can get 2, maybe 3 there if you're good at driving. I don't know. Maybe I need to level that a bit. But that's not too bad. That's alright. Now, I've made a little gateway. So let's head into here. And I just want to see, what does that chicken coop look like? Because actually, no, it's not too bad. Not too bad. It's squared it a bit, so I just got a tiny bit of leveling just to make it more sloped and a bit more real. But actually, that looks okay. That looks okay. I've never used this one, but it looks like it's quite detailed actually. It does. And I believe the chickens, they do free roam. They roam further than this, I think. Hopefully they will come out onto the road. That would be quite cool. Right, I think we're pretty much there. I don't know what this episode's on, if I'm honest with you. All I've got to do is just see what this guy's been up to. Try and make sure we haven't missed anything before the next episode, because of course we're going to skip a month as well. Right, we'll pick up the pieces. This will only take a second, I'm sure. And then, yeah, we're pretty much there, I think. What I might do, rather than go straight in and record the next episode, I might jump off the game, see if I can edit this into one episode as fast as I can. See if I can actually get this out the evening of the day I'm doing it. So, it is Tuesday today. It's probably coming up to lunchtime for me now. And if everything goes to plan, it would be amazing if I can actually get this particular episode out Tuesday night. Or Tuesday night my time, that is. Probably not Tuesday night for a large majority of you on this series. But yeah, Tuesday night UK time. Right, come on. The sooner I get this done, the more likely I'll get it edited up and loaded. So let's get on with this quick. Okay, good. All of the fields are lined up, ready to go. Amazing. And now we're about to trial run this new little pathway. And I know there's a couple of little stumps on the ground, but actually, did I guess the width properly? Yeah. Yes, I did. Probably going to be tight trying to get through here with the header actually attached to the combine, but in theory, we shouldn't be doing it that way anyway. I do like to create a bit of challenge for myself. Good, and then we'll pull up here. It's probably going to. Let's try and. Where are we going to put them? Let's unload here now. So, what am I doing? I forgot the button. Unload. Why? It unloaded all of that into one bag. Was there less than 2,000? Maybe there was. I didn't actually look. Now, I'm not going to clean the equipment. And I know some of you are moaning at me. And I'm not going to do it. I'm going to leave it as just something for our helper to do. Just to give you something to do. So, yeah. Maybe that'll be a thing. You can only help if you clean my equipment for me. Maybe that'll be a rule. Because I don't really like doing it. Anyway, good. Part this up into here. Make it as tidy as we can. Cool. Good. Good progress. I quite like that. That looks pretty damn cool from here. That looks pretty damn cool. Yeah. Next episode. Maybe I'll record it because I know that people do like the landscaping bit. I'll record it, but I'll probably build that little kind of carport type thing in the next episode. I'll use some PC mods, obviously, just so that I can use that and to place buildings anywhere. That's quite important, having that mod. So I'll activate it just for that, get it done, save it, jump back out, go straight back to the crossplay mods. And yeah, I'm quite excited to see the first car, not driven by me, come speeding along here, along that nice road, and park up in one of those spots. It's going to be cool. It is. It's going to be cool. Well, look, thank you for watching. This has literally taken me 5 different attempts to complete, but hopefully for the majority of it, it was all done in one. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching. I am back now. Kids are back. I mentioned briefly in my comment we've made a few changes which are going to change quite a lot for us from a life point of view, which is going to give me more time, going to give my good lady more time, going to give us more time with the kids, and a bit more time with all of you guys, I guess, and a bit more farm sim, hopefully. So this was, I hope it was episode 4. I think it was when I started it last week. But that's it for now. So until I see you in the next episode, which hopefully won't be too long, but until it does appear, cheers and gone.